Oh shit. Gotta love that movie, man. Gotta love that movie, man. What's up, everybody? What's up, BG? How you doing, man?
I'm good today, man. I was like, man, is that old brother? That ain't brother man from the Fifth Floor. Which song? That's gotta be. That's one of them comedians. I can't remember his name, man.
Oh, you know who it is. You know who it is.
I know. I feel ignorant for not knowing, but
don't you know no good? Don't you know no good?
Yeah. But anyway, man.
Martin Lawrence.
Yeah, Martin Lawrence. I seen that dude live, man, back in the Bay Area. I knew that's why he gained some weight. But man, yeah, shout out Martin Lawrence, man. He's still relevant in the game, baby.
That was from Blue Streak, man. Probably one of the only movies he did back in the day with what's his name, Owen Wilson, or his brother Luke Wilson.
Yeah, man.
So what's up, everybody? Back here at Square Groupers, man. We're just hanging out. We're just having a little fun, putting together some stuff behind the scenes before we started today. But wanted to say what's up to everybody. It looks like we got a comment. One comment so far. What up, though?
What up, though?
I can feel you on there. What up, though, is heading on over to StreamYard real quick. www.streamyard.com. Sign up. Give them your email address. Confirm it. Link your shit to Facebook, and then we can see exactly who you are talking right now. Looks like we got about 7 people on the line right now, but guys, we're just hanging out right now today. We're going to talk about a couple things. One of the main things that we're talking about today on episode 13 is veteran security. Now, it's a little bit of a play on words because as far as I can see, even though I'm not a veteran, I know they're not very secure in their life. A lot of them are dealing with a lot of shit, but a lot of them have wound up turning some of their past into a lucrative future by turning into security businesses for dispensaries and whatnot. So BG is here coming to hang out. He's going to talk about that. Obviously, he's got a lot more knowledge about it. So I'm just going to kind of let him go with that and maybe touch in on some of the knowledge I have about it based on the stuff I've seen in Denver dispensaries. But BG, let us know what's going on with the vets, man.
Yes, I mean, pretty much in the long and the short of it, I know a guy I served with a guy. We got a story. We're going to talk about that here today. I wanted to talk about his book, you know what I mean? Because on Square Groupers, like we talk about here every Wednesday, as we're live in OAT, and I know we're live over there on the Cannabis Cowboys YouTube page. And we said, we're going to talk about Cowboys. You know, we're kind of like a work in progress over here, but we're live in OAT on Square Groupers today, so bear with us. Y'all got time to clock in with us and talk to us, but bringing it from a veteran standpoint, we're going to talk about veteran small businesses, the opportunities in the cannabis industry as it relates to Square Groupers and what we're trying to create and cultivate here. And it's a personal story near and dear to my heart with somebody I served with. He happens to be a Raiders fan, which is okay, because that ties right into what we're doing over at the Built Different Group fan page. If you guys haven't noticed, you know what I mean? We're talking to the other 31, you know what I mean? And my boy, this is going to call him Black Santa. We're going to call him Black Santa. Black Santa is part of the other 31. He happens to be a Las Vegas Raiders fan. We're not going to hold that against him, but I'm going to share his story with him today and a little bit about that. And then we're going to get some feedback, like, the Cannabis Cowboy says, because this is a hot topic. And why does this come up as of today? You say, well, why are we going to talk about veteran protection? As Cannabis Cowboy says, this is a play on words. Before we get heavy into that, let's give some words and some shout outs to the folks we got riding with us today who are always clocking in early on the early adopter list. Who we got riding with us today?
Other than a couple Facebook users, but it looks like hardcore up in this bitch. So that's hardcore, apparently. Although Brian, I always see your name all the time anyway. But regardless, Brian's always coming and hanging out.
Twin. Bobby
in the house.
Bobby's always. I don't think Bobby misses no notifications. I think we need to try to go live one time at 3:00 in the morning and see if we can get Bobby up on there early, because Bobby will even chime in with us on the back channel before we get live. So appreciate that support there. But talking about veteran protection, as the Cannabis Cowboy kind of alluded to, as a retired military veteran myself from the Navy, who deals with PTSD and depression, you know what I mean? Ganja, you know what I mean? Cannabis, medical cannabis, we talk about a lot here, is part of that process where I chose not to make a healthy decision not to take pills, and I chose plants. So it's hashtag plants over pills. Y'all have seen me and use that there too as well. But when it comes to veteran protection, we're talking about a little bit about physical protection, physical security. You know what I mean? As it pertains to who I'm going to talk about here today. As you can see, his book here, it says Cracker Jacked. You're like, wow, that's kind of controversial, but we'll get into that. So shout out to Black Santa, who wrote a book called Cracker Jacked. So yeah, as we scratch the surface here a little bit, what tipped this off was, if you don't know who Wanda James is, which I know my counterpart over there, Bob Cannabis Cowboy, does down there in Denver very well. She happens to be a Navy veteran also. She's only the first Black woman ever to buy a cannabis or own a cannabis business in America. And she happened to hunt submarines in the Navy. You know what I mean? And she came out on an interview on one of the Netflix specials I think we had discussed here already on Square Groupers. And she said that, you know, when she wakes up every morning, she's frightened. And coming from a veteran of her stature and what she's doing for, you know, I follow her very closely on LinkedIn, and because she's very active over there. And if you go to her LinkedIn page, you just see it says pot and politics, pretty much sums it up. And basically, yeah, you know what I mean? If she is saying that, you know, dispensary owners, people that are in the cannabis industry are waking up scared every day, what does that say about the little folks? And so I said, well, you know, we like to try to fix problems and get ahead of things here. You know what I mean? Like my man, the Cannabis Cowboy over there, helped me get my medical card here in the state of Washington. You know what I mean? Where I could buy multiple ounces of, you know, medication at a time if I'd like to from a dispensary. You know what I mean? And I happen to be paying attention about their security and stuff there as we kind of get into this stuff as well. So there's all kinds of benefits that you're going to get here hanging out with us. But predominantly talking about today, my partner Black Santa was actually very big down there. He's blowing up with his own security business. And we served together in the Navy out there on USS, what was it, Abraham Lincoln, I believe. And we share a lot of great memories. And that's the things about veterans that we talk about here. We kind of stick together and tying this here together here today with Square Groupers. You know, the cannabis industry really needs some veteran protection, if you kind of catch my draft. And what I want to do is throw the ball back to you over there a little bit, Bob, and tell me about, you know, what are some instances where you've seen maybe dispensaries or folks in this type of industry from a customer standpoint would say that they need their security at right now?
Well, you know, it's not something I even thought about. I think even when legalization happened, I guess because really the only people I remember sort of getting jacked back in the days for large amounts of weed were dealers. So as soon as things got sort of legal, I think I automatically assumed the criminal element was gone, but that's not the case at all. The fact of the matter is this: since it is not federally legal, federal banks will not back you. They will not let you have a bankroll. They will not make you have a payroll or anything. They won't do anything like that. You might be able to get an account open, but you can't draw checks and cut checks from business accounts because there's no way to do that. They can't federally back you because you're a cannabis company. So there's only a couple ways you can get around that as a dispensary. One of those ways is waiting till 2 a.m. and buying a handgun or some weapon and having a friend cover you while you decide to do a night drop, or have somebody accompany you to a bank. Or in this particular instance, which has happened in the last 2 years, I've seen it, have an armed guard or an armed person come and pick up that money for you to drop off to the bank and deposit it. And they have all your information. They can deposit in your name. Maybe they probably can't withdraw, but they can deposit for your name. And armed guards, usually military background, hopefully people who know how to handle their weapon, because a lot of them are armed. And good chemistry, I think, I started seeing that happen about a year before Corona hit. So I just kind of started noticing that. I remember asking, hey, did you guys get robbed? They're like, no, they did break some windows, though. So I think they did it sort of as a sort of a preemptive strike before they did get robbed. But a lot of bad things can happen if you're carrying a lot of cash and somebody knows you're carrying a lot of cash. And that's where some of these veterans are coming in and finding a nice little job to do.
Mm-hmm. So I think that's why she's probably, you know, waking up saying she's scared every day, because, you know, if I'd be scared too. Hell, I'm scared walking around a few $100s in my pocket nowadays on these Facebook streets. You know what I'm saying? It's hot out there. You know what I mean? Especially with what's going on. You know, folks waiting, you know what I'm saying, for handouts or what have you, or folks not, you know, going to work, or whatever kind of mentality is you have. They're in a bad place. They've been dealt a bad hand, which many of us has had at one point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Waking up thinking, damn, I wonder how I'm going to make it through the day. That's probably not the best way. I mean, that sounds like a lot of PTSD, anxiety, and depression to me, man. Like, damn, am I going to get robbed or killed today?
For real. A lot of money, and all the money that you busted your ass for, all the millions you had to throw down liquid asset to get a dispensary started. Imagine that getting hit for 50 grand, 100 grand or something, you know, like that's a setback, man. And you've got no way to get that covered. You know, you're on your own. Yeah. It's a sad thing, man.
Yeah. And it's great because I've just confirmed with the Black Santa, you know what I mean? We're going to have him on the next episode, one of the future episodes here, but we'll talk further into detail. I want to get some meat on this. We're just scratching the surface. Like I said, I wanted to really tie the veteran stuff together today with the security, because here at Square Groupers, bringing it from the veteran standpoint, You know what I mean? Not only do we deal with trying to, you got veterans like my man Black Santa out there protecting folks. You got veterans out there that are depending upon medical cannabis for a form of medication. So when we talk about, we cover a 360-degree streaming view here of cannabis. This is what we're talking about. We're not just talking about, what's the latest strain, what's the latest rap. Oh, did you hear Lil Wayne opened up his new Wheezy Weed Finder, business? No, you know what I mean? We're talking about a bunch of different stuff here that affects a lot of different folks. And especially as you see the Senate is getting ready to entertain this MORE Act, you know what I mean? Once that, if you think it's bad now, wait till things get ramped up and folks are trying to figure out their asshole from, wherever. And then, you know what I mean? Then the games are going to be on, because you can only imagine then what happened in the .com rush, you know what I'm saying, with the internet and folks, and figured out how to, you know what I mean, fish people and get money. And, now there's going to be a string of folks out there, if not already. And I'm going to do some more research and we'll touch on that with the cannabis industry and crime, you know what I mean, as it relates to, are these folks out there, are they going to be becoming targets, or are they already targets? What can you do to not become a target? And talk a little bit about physical security, because as this industry opens up, like we say here, all boats in the water will rise when the tide comes in.
So real quick, let me go ahead and see if I can pull this up as fast as possible. I was visiting my brother today at Diego Pellicer, just stopping in, saying hello, dropped a sandwich off for him real quick. And he showed me around his store. It's impressive too, by the way. They're doing a lot of remodeling. It's real wide open and all that good shit. But he showed me because they're a dispensary that not only carries their brand of cannabis, but multiple brands of cannabis. And then he showed me this that you just spoke about. And this is the company that Wheezy is apparently promoting, which is his cannabis company. And it's, from what I saw, was not really impressive. I don't really know what it went. Obviously, he just went somewhere and found someone to grow some weed and said, I like this weed, I'm going to put my name on it. That's pretty much how it's going down now. But I didn't see it. I didn't look very impressive, man, especially up against some of the crazy chronic that's grown out here in Denver. The nugs weren't that big. I mean, it smelled okay, but it's just it's sort of had that mass produced feel. And I feel like that's going to be a problem when it comes to a lot of these folks. I know a lot of these folks know what good cannabis is, but I don't know if they know what marketing good cannabis is and what it means. So I was all a little bit unimpressed visually by this particular brand. But again, we talked about this. The hip hop stars and rock stars, folks that got a lot of money. Those are the folks that are going to be able to get into this business. Everybody else, we're just going to be.
It's funny you say that, because as like I said, Wanda's headline there on LinkedIn says pot and politics. And as you say that, as the big bank take little bank guys come in, that is what she's fighting and pushing for. Basically, her thing is over there is social cannabis equity, and making sure these certificates and licenses and these opportunities on this cash crop that's literally coming in, is folks going to have equal access to be able to get to this industry.
That's really the case. And I heard something really crazy that I didn't even think of, obviously, for multiple reasons. I'm not ignorant to the war on drugs. I'm very, very conscious to it, but I'm conscious to it as a white man, not a black man. And when I took somebody else's perspective, and I can't remember where it's from, and I'm sorry, because I like to reference instead of just spilling shit out. But someone said something to the fact of the black male, the black person in America is the number one victim of the war on drugs. And it stood to reason that they should have probably had the first crack at getting dispensary ownership. Obviously, whether they had money or not was not necessarily an issue. But black dispensary owners are rare. Black folks in the cannabis business are extremely rare. And we're obviously looking to people like Wanda James to kind of break that cycle. And she even said it herself: if you're not coming with a couple million, don't even come at all, because it's not even worth it. But
no, I mean that's what Al Harrington said. You remember that link I shared to you earlier on the TI Expeditiously podcast? We like to talk about references. Al Harrington with Viola. His cannabis brand. He's just been in the game for 10 years. He finally just came out and said, man, me and my team, we done figured out how to get this, that dope. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That cannabis, that the way they like it. And so you hear, you talking about maybe this is a possibility. Some of these guys and gals are coming into this industry with this money because they got it. Literally, you got to have literally probably at least $2 million cash, liquid to get, I mean, not even liquid, just cash to get up front. I mean, you hear her, Wanda James, talk about, you know, folks running around with this much cash. Think about that for an industry that's not federally regulated yet. They're sitting ducks.
Yep. Because what's going to happen? What, you know, who are you going to go to? Who are you going to tell that you just got jacked for your money? You know what I mean? Like it doesn't work. It doesn't work that way.
I mean, how does that work? You call the cops and say, I had 100,000 on me. I own a dispensary and I got robbed. I mean, I'm waiting. You know, I'm going to do some research. I'm going to dive into this. Like I said, we're going to peel the layers of assets and announcements back, right? We're going to peel that back, and we'll have more here to cover, because I want to bring my man Black Santa on here to talk about that, because I'm the one that threw it past him, and I just wanted to know what his take was on it. He was like, yeah, man, them folks get robbed down here in California.
Yeah, like I said earlier, I've seen instances of it happen out here at Denver. Usually, you know, in some of the areas that are a little bit closer to high crime areas, some of the dispensaries are smack dab in the middle of a high crime area, and that's just sort of something you ask for. Really, you got to have to deal with that, you know, and especially when your dispensary looks like a 7-Eleven at midnight with fucking bars on the windows, you know, like. It's almost like you know that you're in a bad area, yet you decided to put a cash crop in the middle of it, and without any armed guards to come cover you. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I can't even imagine, man. Look, as a server at Johnny Rockets in Miami, Florida, and Coconut Grove, I was the one, because I guess I was the biggest one there. I don't know. The manager would make me walk across the street. I'm talking 100 steps maybe to the other bank across the street, and give me his 45 and said, just deposit this money. I'd be like, why the fuck won't you do it? You're my GM. Just do it. I kind of was like, fuck it. And I didn't realize that until I started hearing dispensaries having to do that. I was like, well, now I understand, because those 100 steps were terrifying, man. Almost knowing somebody is going to walk up to some big, tall ass white dude in a fucking paper hat and blow his head off for some money, you know, like if they know you're walking around with cash and they know when you're depositing, which, you know, anybody who can recon something is going to figure that out. That can definitely be terrifying.
I don't think the digital dealers have figured out that game. We still got the digital dealers we've been talking about here, you know what I mean, on these weed pages that are on social media. As you know, we were talking earlier on another show here, attacking the Facebook frauds on digital dealers. You know, Bob and I like to comment on these pages, and as soon as we do, we got somebody comment underneath tagging you saying, hey, hit me up if you need that good work. And, you know, it's like, who buys weed off Facebook? First of all, can y'all show me who that dummy is? And then for two, I mean, like, what's the play here, really? Like, is you the one time or what? I mean, I don't know. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, who else really does that shit? Like, I'm literally scared talking about it on Facebook because I want to get shut down, but you're soliciting it to me in the comment section.
I was going to say exactly 1.2% of prisoners are the ones buying cannabis on Facebook. Because that is just asinine, man.
Yeah, they need to go to jail for that, for them dummies. You know what I mean? You can't, I mean, shit. I mean, come on. I don't get it. But, you know, nevertheless, we talk about digital dealers here. We're your digital dealers here. You know what I mean? For the Square Groupers, because we're trying to bring you this knowledge and share this information because, like I said, the game hasn't, I don't think, gotten that far. Well, obviously it has. If my boy is telling me if folks are getting knocked off, I just haven't done the research yet. So I'll hold my tongue there to that point. But I don't want to get too much in depth with them, but I sent a quick, I think I sent a picture to you over there, Bob, of me and Black Santa. This was, and I'll share a story before we get into, you know, bringing him on here. This is that Chrysler 300. You know what I'm saying? If you guys don't remember when it first came out, you guys take a look at me there. Look at that. You see that little piece of dirt I got above my lip there? Look at that old crusty ass mustache.
I don't know. From here, it looks like you're wearing some Miami Heat shorts, man, but I'm not going to say nothing.
No. That's Jordan. That's the Jordan brand. You know what I'm saying? I got the Air Force Ones on. You know what I mean? My man got the 40 bottle. You know, he's from East Oakland. Shout out Black Santa. You know what I mean? He actually graduated from Baylor University. You know what I mean? He played football there. And we worked together there in the Navy. So, yeah, that's when this 300 came out. And I was telling Bob earlier that, you know, our buddy who was actually taking that picture looks like Jay-Z to a certain extent. And, you know, we were rolling around Waikiki Beach at the time. It was a rental, of course. You know what I mean? A couple $100 for a few days. I mean, you roll around like a king on the beach in a hotel room. You know what I mean? You just got to know how to floss on the budget. Balling on the budget, baby. You know what I mean? He looked like Jay-Z. So we had him riding in the middle, rolling around Waikiki Beach, man. And folks was going crazy. They thought this dude was Jay-Z. And it's because of the car. Because if you don't remember when them 300s came out, what did they first look like?
Them bad boys,
them
man.
Bentleys, them big Bentleys. You know what I mean? You didn't know if you didn't know because it wasn't saturated. You know what I mean? Like we're talking about now. But that shout out to my boy, Black Santa. He actually got out of the Navy. He actually started his own security business. He went to Wyotech. He had an incident there. He was using his GI Bill. He wrote his story, Cracker Jack, how he was assaulted by the Hayward Police Department there in the Bay Area, took him to court. It's in the story there. I'm going to be bringing him on here. Like I said, he's a Raiders fan. So shout out to the Las Vegas Raiders over there. You know what I mean? Yeah, Jason Witten just come out there retiring, but he's coming back to them boys to retire for one day because he's smart. He knows that them Las Vegas, you know what I mean, guys out there, you know what I mean, they got it cooking like we got it cooking over here. But we're going to get Black Santa on here eventually on the show as I dig some more info on this industry in terms of security. But I just found it, you know, me and you were talking, I just found it interesting. I was like, why would Wanda James say that she wakes up scared every day like that? And I'm just like, you got to think about it, man. Like, you rolling around with that much cash on you. You know what I mean? You're going to want to talk to somebody. And my man is a veteran-owned licensed business out of the Bay Area. You know what I mean? Providing protection for, you know what I mean, all kinds of units of houses and stuff like that. So he's blowing up out there. We want to get him on to get his perspective here, because if you're a military veteran that's watching this, or you know somebody that's a military veteran, you know, we all come back with some types of, you know, firearm training. Like I said, my man Black Santa and I, we shot 9 mils, M16s, 50 cals. I mean, you name it. We was in weapons department. I mean, this dude was so strong at the time. He had like this Hellfire missile on his shoulder. You know what I mean? That's kind of confidential, but you know what I mean? It was on the ship. And I didn't know about it 2 years afterward. I seen him, I was like, what the fuck is you doing? You know what I mean? Because this guy, we worked. Funny thing is, he worked for me at the time. And then when I got out, I was telling Bob right before the coronavirus hit. And this is where substantially I was down there with him for a week, helping him get this business off the ground and doing some research. And then that's when the Jazz player came out on TV and said that, you know, that the NBA said we're shut down essentially because old boy over there has got the coronavirus and he's touched everything and now everybody's going to get it or something like that.
Good Lord. That is terrifying, man. Real quick, I want to give a shout out to Sarah Berry Hill. I know you were, looks like you were trying to comment on, you're commenting on my Facebook page. For some reason, I'm not seeing any of them come through right now, but a couple things. You need security in parking lots of dispensaries in Michigan is what she was saying. She's more nervous now that we have to wait in our cars at dispensaries, which that's actually, I didn't even think about that. I know that my dispensary didn't do that, but Good Chemistry just kind of had you line up outside 6 feet away. And they just sprayed these marijuana leaves on the floor every 6 feet. They were cool. The other businesses were cool with that because they were all patrons too. But I didn't even think about that, Sarah. You know, like there's obviously some dispensaries that you probably do have to sit there and you're kind of sitting duck, just kind of sitting there like an idiot, either waiting for cannabis, which they know you've got cash because most dispensaries don't take cards. So it's kind of easy pickings depending on, you know, where you are and how you got to get out of your dispensary. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know, and most folks are like, well, how come these states aren't legal yet? You know, it's been a chess match here when it comes to legalization. Like we said, you know, Vice President Kamala Harris has actually introduced the MORE Act. That's going to be hitting the Senate floor. They could be potentially legalizing or federally legalizing cannabis this year. So if you follow along like we do at Square Groupers here, where we get our information from at marijuanamoment.net, you know what I mean? We follow those folks over there as a $25 paid Patreon per month. I get an email every morning at 3:30 with the state of all of the legislature. So we're following that closely. So what we're talking about here at Square Groupers with our boat in the water, you know what I mean? If you know folks that are in, you know what I mean, in the firearms, stuff like that, veterans, I mean, that's a direct opportunity for you to get a little bit of business sense and do some due diligence and get you a crew up and running. You know what I mean? You could be protecting that cannabis business no time soon, because if those folks are walking around with that type of money and that type of fear, you're going to A, protect some money, and B, help some folks sleep a little bit better at night. And then also you can start your own business up. So it looks like a budding opportunity, if you feel what I'm saying.
Budding opportunity indeed. And I think in most places to get into at least in Denver, to get into the cannabis business, you know, even as a bud tender, I think it's sort of like they hit you for like a $75 fee right away. But if you plan on becoming like a store manager, your fees could be like $350. It's pretty crazy actually how much they tax you just to get into the industry. So, I mean, there is a bunch of different kinds of money floating around that industry, but I don't know, man. I think that it sucks that we're getting to the point that armed guards sort of have to be the thing, but you know, if it has to happen, we might as well give those jobs to people who are not able to get cannabis jobs otherwise. If they go through their background check and all that shit, you know.
I mean, I think I look at it like this. I don't, you know, I think for most smokers, you know, most folks that medicate, you know, we're not sitting around plotting how we're gonna rob them. You know what I mean? I don't know. I mean, because you don't rob the plug. I don't know. I mean, Plies, you know, he ran off on the plug twice. So I don't know. You know what I mean? But I think it's just a matter of time, because I think up here in Washington, like where I'm at, you know what I mean, it's not so much a problem. But as you get to some of these states, now let's talk about New Jersey. You know, they just now stood up legalization and are getting their legislation put in place. It's, you know, they just got off the books of arresting folks a couple of weeks ago.
You know, I got to believe that there are some states that are worried about losing their hand in the prison system. Because if you know, anybody who understands, marijuana was a huge offense, and I use the word marijuana in connection to being arrested because there's a big connection there. But otherwise, I would have said cannabis. But the marijuana arrests that have happened are still part of the prison machine, part of the prison system. So you've got to understand, law enforcement in states who are making a lot of money off of feeding the prison system with felons and all kinds of people. They're not necessarily going to jump on board with that. They don't really want to get involved in legalization because that's just more money taken out of their pocket. They don't give a shit. You know, there's a couple different layers to it all, and it's a little terrifying when you think about it. But
yeah, you know, I just, you know, I think about it. You know, I am nervous if I got $1,000 in my pocket. You know what I mean? You know, because I just don't want it to be. It's not that I'm scared of. I guess I'm scared of being at the wrong place at the right time. I think, is that it? You know what I mean? Just. You never know. You know what I mean? You got to keep your head on the swivel out here now. I mean, shit, you could walk outside your front door and slip and fall on the concrete. You know what I mean? Break your arm. So, you know, much less if I got to, you know, worry about, damn, do I got to wake up and I got to transport this X amount of money from this place to this place. So veteran protection, when we're talking about this stuff, we're not only talking about from a medical cannabis standpoint. As you guys see, I found my long lost old friend over there from Legends. You know what I mean? Jesus is all about love, and love is about presence and absence. You know what I'm saying? And if you got any kind of faith, you know what I mean? You know, you got to have a little bit of both, because that's how the faith technically grows, right? So I'm back on my Jesus, man. You see, I got my Jesus. You know what I mean?
Jesus, OG.
But yeah, we're getting to the medical side of cannabis for veterans. I mean, there's going to be a day soon where veterans are going to be able to clock in and tap into the VA. And they're going to be able to, they're probably doing it in some parts of the country already, maybe. But, you know, being able to go in and get it, you know what I mean? And not have to buy it, you know what I mean? Because even though you may hold a medical card, like, you know what I mean, the Cannabis Cowboy next to me has helped me get that medical cannabis card up here. I can grow my own plants if I wish. I can buy more at bulk as a result. But quite frankly, you know what I mean? You know, some folks are just going to want to, you know, get into the business all together themselves. You know what I mean? And that's why we got this guy next to us who talks to us about how to potentially grow and how to really grow and how to watch it grow. You know what I'm saying? Because he knows I'm not with all that yet. He just knows I like to see the baby. You know what I mean? Show me the baby.
I've got probably just a little bit. This may be about a week or so old. And since I'm growing autoflower right now, they're actually popping a little more than this. But, you know, that right there is some really, really nice growth for just a few weeks. I'm really, really impressed with autoflowers. You know, it just took me 7 months to grow my last Aurora Indica grow, and this is only going to be 3.5 months, and I'm going to be going from seed to harvest, which is kind of crazy. But this is something I'm smoking on right now. I wanted to show you folks. I'm going to lose my autofocus so that I can show you this.
Oh, it's so frosty looking.
It's called Mendo Perps. It's Mendocino, California purple bud. And let me tell you, this yeah, it is outstanding. And I was going to kind of get into some of the like Violator Kush and Ingrid and Lavender and some of the other ones I really like that helped me out. But over the course of the last 3 or 4 days that I've had this Mendo Perps, it's actually called Mendo Breath. From Good Chemistry, I've been feeling my stomach issues seem to be really, really liking this particular strain. And like my brother always says, if you smell cannabis and it smells good to you and you like that, chances are your body is going to react to it better than other cannabis that you might not like the smell of, or maybe like the flavor of. There's a lot of stuff involved in this, and most people just think you're smoking weed, but there's a reason why you keep going back to this kind of weed and not that kind of weed.
Bro, that's for real though, man. Because some weed don't hit me like that, and I'm just like, I don't know why it's weed. You know, and it's funny you say that because I don't know if you said that before here. If I heard that somebody else recently say that, it makes all the sense in the world. They say that's why when you smell it, and they say if you get that rush, they know okay, that's the one you need to smoke. Because it's something with that. What is it? The breakdown that goes from the nose to the brain receptor, with all that scientific shit you're talking about over there.
And since human bodies are basically one gigantic cannabinoid receptor, we automatically respond to it. That's why you get that. That's why bag appeal is a term, because you look at it and you're like, damn, that looks frosty, and then you open that bag up and you're like, there's a few buds in my life that have done that for me. One of them is a strain called Bubblegum for obvious reasons. And the other strain is Pre-98 Bubba Kush that just smells like a big bag of weed and coffee beans. And it's just sort of like those kinds of things are the ones that work with my body. And as we're getting into sort of the medicinal portion of this program, I was going to start talking about some other ones. And then I had been puffing on this the entire episode. It's 31 minutes so far, and I'm feeling really good. I had a little bit of a ice pick issues in my stomach before the show started, and they're alleviated right now, 100%. Bob McClain, Bud looks kill. Yeah, Mendocino County farms everywhere. I mean, I know you smoked that too, right? I mean, or Bobby, I know smoked it. Definitely got it from Good Chem. They've got a really good grow out there. They're starting to pop a lot of good stuff out. But that Mendo Breath, it gives me that warm blanket feeling I'm looking for, because the world is so cold and prickly.
Yeah, it's not been many strains that's hitting me like that. Jesus for a while, like I said, is really consistent. I think it's because it's that hybrid, and I think I got on it. Right during the quarantine, and it was there until shit dried up, and then it got to where I began experimenting, and I even tried edibles here on Square Groupers, and different things. But I must be just a stoner, bro, because some of this stuff is not even hitting me. You know what I mean? Sometimes, and like I shared with you in Vegas, that Jenny Kush, that strain, like I said, and I sent you that picture, right, and how glistening it was.
Yep.
And I told you when I broke it up, the shit was like powder. Like, there's some that wowed me, and shout out Planet 13. You know what I mean? I'm top fan over there, Planet 13. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like a big deal. You know what I mean? Over Planet 13 on Facebook, baby. You know what I mean? So they're commenting back. But that Jenny Kush, if you ever get a chance to go out to Planet 13, the folks out there in Vegas, check out the Jenny Kush. It was like 30%, but it was so pretty. You know what I mean? There's actually a story behind it. I can't remember. You said there was some story on how that became Jenny Kush, right?
Yes, there is. Real quick, before we do that, though, I might as well show, since you are in love with that Jesus OG, which makes 100% sense, I can do this and show you that it's actually a mixture of Hell's OG and Jack the Ripper. And if we go down here and see sort of like the way they have their levels set up and how it makes you feel, you can see the very, very first one is Happy. So it really makes sense why you like that strain. We're going happy, euphoric, uplifted, relaxed, and focused. Those are 5 extremely wonderful feelings. And your body, as soon as you smell that jar, said, you know what, BG, pick me up, buy me, because your nose liked it, your eyes liked it, your mouth probably watered a little bit. And it's kind of crazy how that works, but it is 100% the truth. Your body tells you right away. I'll look inside my the place I keep my cannabis and be like, I wonder why this strain is sitting here. Why I'm not smoking it.
I'll tell you, man. Legends got some good stuff, man. But there's some of their shit, man. I'll tell you, I would not buy again. You know what I mean? And Jesus is pretty much their most consistent, which I found to be, at least they got that marketing done right. At least if your best is going to be the best, at least for me as a consumer. You know what I mean? You got it right with Jesus, because you need a little bit of Jesus every now and then. You know what I mean? And Jesus will go away and then Jesus will come back. But don't forget that Jesus will always be on time when you least expect it. You know what I mean? And I picked it up. And I'm glad you broke that down, man. It makes a lot of sense. You know what I mean? That's pretty neat. What was that you broke down? What was that website was that?
That was Leafly, which, it happens to be it's like obviously the biggest encyclopedia. They got into the game real early. Mm-hmm. They were the first app I ever saw for cannabis. When I worked at Wellspring, which is now Good Chemistry, and it's which is kind of crazy. Here's the Jenny Kush info that you were talking about earlier. It seems like there it says Jenny Kush is a hybrid cannabis strain named in memory of Jenny Monson, a cannabis activist who passed away in 2013. The strain was bred by Rare Dankness Seeds, which is an amazing seed company. with all proceeds going towards the Jenny Kush Foundation, a charity established to help support her children. So that's beautiful. That's the kind of stuff that we like to see in the cannabis community, you know, not just named after, you know, and there's actually, you know, Jack Herrera was a major activist. He's got a great strain. You know, there's a few people that have been doing it for a long time that had a strain named after them, whether it was because of them or they created it. But that one in particular that's a great story.
Yeah. I just bought it because, you know, I'm that guy, like we shared, you know, 30%. I was like, ooh, I said, let me get that. And, you know, first day there in Vegas, and I hit it. And it wasn't until I got about till the bottom half of the blunt. And I was like, man, this is some good herb. Okay. You know what I mean? And then I was like, Jenny Kush, I didn't think about it. I'm going to fucking name it Jenny Kush. But man, as soon as I told you, your instincts kicked in and began looking it up. So that's great, because I would never think that. Let me Google how did Jenny Kush come up. You know what I mean?
Well, you know, it's one of those things where, like I say all the time, the names of cannabis strains are extremely derivative, and if not derivative, they're derivative of slang sometimes. So, like perps would be, you know, obviously it's a purple strain, but that's, you know, from sort of a hip hop slang. So, all those names are, you know, purple nurple and sticky icky and all this shit, and then you've got something named Jenny. So you know, the first flag that went off in my mind is like, that's definitely not.
Yeah. Subconsciously to me, I'm Jenny Kush, like. Okay, Kush. I was like, I seen 30. I didn't care. I seen 30. I'm like, let me try that. You know what I mean?
I can assure you that if you ever go into a dispensary and see something that's called Bob, the Cannabis Cowboy Kush, you are going to get hammered from it. So
no, they're getting the digital version of it right now, baby. You know what I'm saying? This is called New App City. Y'all know, y'all remember New Jack City. You know what I mean? With Nino Brown, you know what I mean? It's the ganja god over here, baby. We on New App City, the digital dealers, baby, on Square Groupers, man.
Yeah, we the hustlers. We're the hustlers.
Now we just trying to inform, man. Trying to inform folks. We on the block, like you said, barking. We over here barking right now. You know what I mean? Y'all look at what we got going on, man. Y'all better start building your boats. Go and start buying some wood. Get your glue. Get your sandpaper. Get your batteries. Get your gasoline. Get all that shit rounded up that you need to get your boat in the water. So when the tide comes in with Square Groupers, man, all boats will rise.
Bobby, I'm sad you had a bad experience there at that particular dispensary. I've never been there, but you know why I've never been there. I got my place, but you know, there's again, you know, and I'll go back to what I just said, man. You go into a dispensary, and what you need to do is you need to not pay attention to all the lights, all the fucking arrows, anything like that. Find the name of the strain you like, or find something you're interested in, and narrow your eyes down to that. And just go in there. Don't fall for any of the shit that happens in car dealerships and all these other electronic stores and shit like that. You want to go in there and you want to pay attention to the cannabis. There's a lot of places I've gone where the cannabis smells like fertilizer or what they've grown it in. They haven't flushed and all these other things. I just won't smoke it. If I can't just smell the strain, I'm not going to smoke it. So, yeah, Bobby, I'm sad to hear that you had to deal with that. There's a few places that aren't legit, man. I mean, they just don't have a good product.
There's some folks out there going to try to get you. You got to understand, any industry that comes up, you know, you got to look at, you know, there's going to be some frauds. There's going to be some folks scamming out there, you know what I mean, in your inbox trying to solicit to you. So if you think, you know, you can buy weed on Facebook, you might be one of them folks get ready to head, if not already get locked up, gonna get locked up.
Since we got you guys in here real quick, I know we're down to just a few people, but Bobby McLean's still hanging out. DC4LOAT is still hanging out. We still got Mike Rock in the building, I believe. So while y'all are here, and you know, it doesn't, I'm not necessarily saying you smoke cannabis for medicinal reasons, but is there a specific strain that any of you guys like in the comment section that makes you feel good, or at the very least makes you feel different than what you did before you decided to smoke it? Because no matter what anyone says, even as an adult, you're smoking to escape sometimes. And that's either a feeling, a situation, a party you don't like being at, Thanksgiving dinner with your Italian and Irish family. There could be a lot of reasons why you want to go out and smoke, but there's a reason why you want to go out and smoke. So what is the one strain that you like that makes you kind of get out of your head or get out of your mind for a little bit?
You want to know mine, or you just talking to them?
I was talking to them, but I do want to know yours too.
Oh, I mean, shit, Jesus. I mean, I forgot how good it was. You know what I mean? Between being all the different other stuff, and then you get it, you're like, oh, there's that familiar smell again. You know what I mean? And in learning all of this has been a process. You know what I mean? You think, oh, my battery's down there on my light. Oh, we're still good. But you know, this is all a learning process here for not only like what we're talking about. You know, we don't get up here to kind of be, hey, look at us. You know, we're perfect. We're up here. We're finding our way too. You know what I mean? We're sharing our challenges. You know what I mean? We're sharing our you know, shortcomings and shortfalls here. You know, we have some problems here and there, you know what I mean? But y'all are growing with us. And that's the key thing is hashtag keep growing. You know what I mean? Because as this industry grows, you know, it becomes federally legal at some point. It's not a matter of if, but when. I mean, you got to be thinking, you know, a lot of folks sit around and watch Shark Tank on TV, right? Before you turn on Netflix after you eat dinner, you know, you ain't did shit else for yourself. You know what I mean? You just sitting at home being a lazy fuck. You know what I mean? You watch Shark Tank and people say, damn, why didn't I think of that? Well, you got to be thinking, first of all. And that's what we're getting you to do here is Square Groupers is start to think about this budding industry. And that's why when I bring my boy on Black Santa, we're going to get more into his book on the next episode. We're going to get into more social security, some more backstories about me and him. I'm going to have him on the show personally. And this is how we're going to try to merge some of this you know what I mean, NFL stuff together here. We knew we were going to try to keep it out of Square Groupers, but as much as we've talked about it, it looks like cannabis affects not only the Dallas Cowboy fan base, but affects pretty much all the other fan bases. Like my boy Black Santa, who is part of the Las Vegas Raiders. He's a big time traveler to Las Vegas. He's always out there. So he's going to have some stories to share. He is a Laker fan, though, by the way. So we did have some common ground working together there. But we'll have him on the show and talk to him about it because I know he's going to have some stuff to talk about his strains and things down there. We're going to get some boots on ground information from California. So I'm looking forward to that. So I got to get together with him and we're going to talk about some things we'll talk about here. And that's kind of what we wanted to talk about today was veteran protection. So we'll come back with this veteran protection 2.0 or something to that effect at some point when we have Black Santa on here. But get your mind to start thinking now about these different types of opportunities, not just growing your own weed and getting in the game or opening up a dispensary to sell somebody like the Bob Cannabis Cowboy strain or, you know, or Jenny Kush or something like that. Or, you know, even if it's in the ATM business right now, which probably won't be there long, you know what I mean? That's why I like going to my ATM and my dispensary. They charge me like $1 less than anywhere else in the town. It made it easy for me to go in there. You know what I mean? And a shout out to Planet 13. Like I said, they're cutting edge out there in Vegas. So they got an ATM process at the counter already where there's not as much cash out there. Believe it or not, in all places of Vegas, you would think, oh, you know what I mean, have cash on you. So there's multiple opportunities out there in this industry. Maybe folks not looking at it. And that's what we're trying to, you know, peel this layer back a little bit about and kind of open it up. So
Bobby Mack says he likes Monkey Business. Monkey Business was actually the very first strain spotlight I ever did. So check that out on YouTube. Cultivating with the Cannabis Cowboy. That's a good one. That's actually it's a pretty heavy indica. He says he likes the pain relief for his back and his knees. You're a big dude like I am. I understand exactly what the hell you're talking about. It's definitely it could definitely be a pain. Being long jointed. And I think Mike, this is Mike Rock. He says, since I'm a heavy user of CBD, you like joysticks and Black Diamond. And you know what? You know, that's actually it's pretty easy to grow some CBD flower too. If that's something, I don't know if you're doing that or if you're interested in doing that, since it's legal, you can cultivate that without having to worry about too much. And it's just 100% CBD cannabis, or a small percentage of it you can get away with growing it. You're okay.
Mm-hmm. And that's another part of the game too. We didn't talk about, you know, as much shit as I like to give Trump and any politics, because you know my saying here is that fuck all politicians. They all crooked anyway. But anyway, Trump passed the 2018 Farm Bill, which allows folks to grow for CBD purposes. So if you're in one of them, you know, country towns like I grew up in, you know what I mean, like 700 deep, and you know most folks live out on, you know, farms and shit like that. And you know what I mean? You know, there's opportunity to grow and get in the game. You know what I mean? Because you think about outside of that, once this thing becomes where more folks can become accessible to it. Just think about this. Who in here likes that? Who has like flower gardens? You got gardens at the house. You got flower pots on the front porch. You know, all that Miracle Grow, all them chemicals, you know, all the little tools that you buy and all that type of shit. Well, guess what? Stock on all that shit's gonna go up. So we're gonna get into some investments and stuff here as we've been talking about GameStop. It's funny because I was doing some research on Robinhood. There's a thing called Stash App. We're gonna get some other investment opportunities we're gonna be talking about here on Square Groupers. but the opportunities are all over the board. You know what I mean? And you've got to have your eyes looking at it, because before you know it, you're going to be on your couch still watching Shark Tank. And you're going to be seeing folks like Sarah Berryhill over here, gang, you know what I mean, with some kind of idea. He's going to get up there and is going to secure this stuff to get into this industry. You know what I mean? And that's what the name of the game is. You know what I mean? Get your boat in the water and then level that boat up from maybe a smaller boat to a mid-sized boat. And then from there, you know, we're trying to get to the like Jerry Jones style yacht. You know what I mean? That's what we're trying to do over here at Square Group. So get your boat in the water with us now.
It says that you like the Yoda you had a while back. That's funny you say that.
Baby, you do really smoke weed? Oh.
I like that Yoda too, man. Yoda likes that Yoda as well. That's some good.
Hashtag keep growing, baby. We got creator problems around here, but my man over there is growing. Y'all stay tuned. We kind of basic right now, but we're gonna be real exclusive here in a minute.
Yeah. Once someone messed around and maybe get in on some of this editing jobs and all this good stuff. So I'm getting real happy with all that. We're gonna start looking real slick real soon. We might even jump over to OBS. I don't know. I'm not gonna say it, but
yeah. Shout out to the gang Patrons. You see, you got Mike Rock rolling with us. He got the OAT Patreon mask up there. You know what I mean? Y'all need to make sure you go support the Cannabis Cowboy here next to me and his Patreon. You know what I mean? Because I'll tell you, back when OAT got started, he was an early adopter and supporter of Patreon there, and basically like a silent investor. And now here it is, when he got his Patreon up on board, I was the first one to get on there for his top tier there. So you guys, you need to tell them how to go check you out on Patreon. So all these editing skills and these things like what you're doing to entertain us here, I'm just in the passenger seat, man. You guys need to get over there, become a patron of Bob's, man. Tell them how they can get with you.
I got it scrolling right here at the bottom right now. So if you just go to patreon.com and type in after that / Cannabis Cowboy, you're going to find me. You're going to see my logo. And I've got 3 different tiers you can check me out at. It starts at $5. The high one is $15, and that's really the most inclusive. I've talked to a couple people actually one-on-one about their grows, and they've been exercising. That's right. I'll send you a nice little care package with a mug, some papes, all that good shit in there, man. And I'm trying to just pass on the knowledge that I gathered. I honed a lot of these skills during the quarantine process, and BG was talking about all these crazy different sort of kinds of chemicals and stuff that are involved in the growing process. I can tell you right now, I can teach you how to grow cannabis with just molasses and liquid seaweed and soil. That's it, and water, obviously, but those ingredients are all you need to grow cannabis. Anybody who tells you need 5 different bottles of Grow and Boost and all this other shit, it's not true. It's not 100% true. Yes, you can get some results that are different, but I can teach you how to organically grow. So if you folks are interested in learning that in any way, go to YouTube and hit me up, Cultivating with the Cannabis Cowboy. That's also the name of my Facebook page. And if you're not my friend on Facebook, look up Bob the Cannabis Cowboy, and I can get you on the way to growing as soon as possible.
Yeah, we need a new saying here. Square Groupers is the plug. You know what I mean? You got everything from how to grow, you know what I mean, any kind of seed, and how to grow any kind of business. As we discuss these types of opportunities here, you know what I mean? We want to be one big think tank. You know what I mean? We're your guys' voice. Without Patreons, you know what I mean? Without patrons, without monthly supporters, it's hard for us to level up in the game as fast as we'd like to. And I'll tell you, I haven't wrote that much lately because, quite frankly, I mean, this video stuff is a lot funner. And I think, for those of us that, who I used to try to get my man next to me here to write, if you got any kind of writing abilities, that even helps even further, because now you know how to kind of structure stuff and things. It kind of goes hand in hand. So as we attract other creators, you know what I mean, to this network, we're looking for other cannabis creatives that are out there. You know what I mean? Vloggers, bloggers, independents, especially if you're in what I like to call the other 31 NFL fan bases that are out there. And I know we're streaming live in OAT here today, and that's why we're always cowboyed up. We're always going to do that here at OAT. But occasionally we're going to have a Square Groupers show out on BDG or somewhere. You know what I mean? Like, we'll probably do Square Groupers on BDG when we got my man from the Vegas Vegas Raiders over here, Black Santa, so we can open that up so we can get some of his folks over there to check that out. And that's what we're doing there, is getting that BDG page to grow, to reach those other 31, because like we said, there's all kinds of opportunities, not just within the Dallas Cowboy fan base, the budding industry, but for the whole NFL fan base. And ultimately, we're focused on the Cowboy stuff in here, and then outside there, you know what I mean? We're going to be opening it up, like we said, to the other 31. So stick around with us, man. Hashtag keep growing. It's growing, baby.
And I wanted to give a shout out real quick to a few folks. Sarah Berryhill, obviously. Jesus Oseguera, Tasha Pearson, Dallas Jess, Brian Heron, Blake Duncan, Bobby Mack, obviously. My brother M-Dub, Jay Mackin, and BG. You folks have been patrons for a while, and I've basically gone in. Maybe a couple of you have gone in and out, but there's been really those 10, 11, 12 solid people, and I really appreciate it. Obviously, it's going directly to the grow. And although I found a way to sort of keep that down at this point now, a lot of the patron money is going directly to upgrading all of this production and all this stuff right now. The programs aren't free, you know, so you guys help out with all of that. I just wanted to give a shout out to all my patrons for that because, you know, I probably wouldn't have been advancing as quickly as I have been if it wasn't for all the help you guys have given me. I really appreciate it. So thank you.
Like they say, man, it take a village. You know what I mean? You know, we can only do, you know what I mean? I'd rather have 10 of us doing 10% of the work than one of us doing 100% of the work.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So 10 of us, that 10%, we can get things done a lot quicker. You know what I mean? Especially with what these opportunities present with us. So special shout out to all the patrons. Because like we said, without you guys, you know, we wouldn't even be at the level we're at now, even though we're nowhere near where we want to get. But at the same time, we understand this is a, you know, like my man West Coast would always tell me, man, we Cowboy fans for life. And so you look at it from a square grouper sense, and man, look, I'm smoking for life.
until somebody tells me I shouldn't do that anymore, in which case I'm just going to find another doctor, I guess.
Yeah,
pretty much. That's the truth, man.
I need to get a second opinion.
Yeah, that's what I mean. We'll find somebody else to talk to me, man. You're not my kind of doctor. No, I mean, look, there's obviously going to be a point in time where I can't smoke it. That doesn't mean I'm not going to be eating gummies with my gums. And when I'm 85 years old, there's probably a few ways I'm going to get around it, but. You know, and by the way, since we're talking about patrons, anybody who happened to receive one of my special gifts and is interested in seeing how they can take that further, hit me up and let me know. We're starting to get into that time frame where you can start doing that without having to have any sort of self-contained unit to do it. Wink, wink. But anyway, guys, again, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I can't wait to show you the videos I'm going to be putting together here soon. I'm going to be unleashing on YouTube to show you exactly what your patronage has been doing for my personal grow. So thank you for that.
Yeah, and then lastly, you know, we understand circumstances change. You know what I mean? I understand, you know, like you said, some patrons come and go. That's perfectly fine. Don't think we're going to be all this guy. It's not even it, man. Look, if you know this guy, or if you know me of any extended period of time, you know what I mean? We all go through these challenges. It's cool. Just let us know. You know what I mean? Like I said, I got a group for my patrons over there for, you know, that are paid subscriptions every month that we communicate in there. Part of that subscription gives you that 24-hour access to me in there, where not as an OAT, it does not. But, you know, there's the perks that are there. But if you got to float in and out, man, it's all good, man. We appreciate you. Just let us know, man. It ain't no big deal. You know what I mean? Stick around with us, because we got like Street Team Amy. We got folks out there like Street Team Amy, who's Sarah Hill's little, you know what I mean, right-hand woman over there, right-hand gal. You know what I mean? She's out there pushing all the digital dealer dope. You know what I mean? The square grouper dope out there. We appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
What the hell? Yo, the sign is real simple, B. It says back it up.
Damn, I didn't know we were going that long. Shit.
Yeah.
I guess they're telling us to wrap this up, man. BG, you got anything you want to say before we get up out of here, man?
No, man, it's Veteran Protection 1.0. Stay tuned. We're going to have Black Santa on the Built Different Group Network here on a show coming real soon, where we're going to talk about, from boots on the ground, physical security of cannabis and things of that nature. And I'll let him talk more about his book and how, you know, his shine with that, the Hayward Police Department there, when it comes to crooked coppery and things of that nature. You know what I mean? Nothing that we've not heard here before. But we appreciate everybody hanging out here with us today. And stay tuned for Veteran Protection 2.0, baby, because, you know what I mean? Take it from a veteran, man. That's how we do things in Square Groupers.
Yeah, man. All right, folks. Thanks for coming and hanging out tonight for episode 13. Can you believe the episode 13? If you do the math on that, my friend, that's 13 weeks we've been doing this.
Hey, man, as I said, remember we said, just give us a year. Give us a year. Let's see where we're at in a year, man.
13 weeks, man. It's because of everybody that's in the comments section right now. Thanks for hanging out with us today, guys.
Yeah.
Check us out. We're all over the place right now. We're at the Build Different group. Obviously, we're all over Facebook, and check out my TCSP podcast. If you haven't, we just did that last night, getting into a couple different things. But I appreciate all the support, ladies and gentlemen. And we're going to take off. Have a good night, guys.